Hey guys, how are you?
Hi,
Hi, we are fine.
we're good. How are you?
Well, I
Hi.
mean, it's hard to say, with the state of the world at the moment. I mean, I'm generally fine, but every time I look at the news, I'm horrified and sad and things. But
We're the
otherwise, yeah,
same. We're the same, of course. Yeah. As long as you don't watch the news, it's okay. And by the time this will go on air, everything might have changed.
I
oh
think,
yeah, there will
Probably
be.
for the worse again. It's
yeah,
going from worse to worse. But I don't know.
I think
You-
every morning when I wake up, I have a heart attack, more or less. It's like, oh my God.
I'm more the angry guy, and I feel so sorry for you guys who have to live in it
Yeah.
without
Yeah,
being able to do much. But we're also living in a worse situation basically here. So,
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so where are you guys at now? You're at home at the office in
We,
Malmo.
yeah, we're at the office actually right now.
Okay.
So there might be the random fire truck or police car going by, and that's
Okay.
added to the drama a bit. I don't know, but that's where it is.
So it's our office in Malmo. So it's in the middle of the city center.
What's Malmo like exactly? Like I've never been. I just I went. I think I took a train from Copenhagen to Stockholm once, and I think I passed through it, but it was nighttime, and I don't think I saw anything.
Well, yeah, it's by we call it the Brooklyn of Copenhagen actually,
Okay.
and that is pretty accurate description, I would say.
Okay.
It's very much like Copenhagen, but it's in Sweden obviously, and it's a bit cheaper. It's a bit more affordable in every way, and more. I mean, I don't know. There's some good stuff, but it's not as evident as in Copenhagen, where everything is becoming almost a little bit too polished right now. Very
Yeah.
like hipsterified in a way. Malmo has still got this touch of reality to it, which is
It's a
great.
small
Okay.
city. I mean, 300,000 people about
Okay.
live, I think. But we have loads of nationalities, around
Okay.
170 different nationalities here in Malmo.
Okay.
It's a port to Sweden.
Wow. All right. So I have to tell you, I was thinking about this the other day. I have to tell you about my first experience with Full Magazine, and as as I say it, and as I was thinking about it, it sounds like the most ridiculously cliche Nordic food fantasy like you could ever imagine, but it's truly how it actually went. So I was in Stockholm and I was writing, I think, a story on like real estate for the New York Times or something, and another story on restaurants for Penthouse, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't even want to get into it at this point, but yeah, Penthouse. And I was hanging out with Nicholas Ekstead I went to dinner at his place, and he mentioned that this Swedish food magazine just came out, and he had some extra copies, and he gave me one. And I think like the magazine just came out, like within a few months or something like that. And the next morning, I took a train north to Faviken, and it was the middle of winter, and I think early December maybe, and everything was covered in snow, and it was this long, beautiful train ride. What is it, like 8 hours or something like that
Yeah,
between?
something like that.
Okay, and I read the entire issue, and I felt like such a relief because the entire world as I had known it, I'd been writing about food at that point for, more than 10 years, 12, 13 years, I guess. And the entire world of, food media was moving in this direction of everything faster and all this like shorter writing, all these like little bits of information. And as a writer, that frightened me because I had always felt much more comfortable with the very long story, the 7,000 word stories, more so than the 300, 600 word bites of crap. And I was concerned by that. And then here was this magazine in Sweden, of all places, that was completely the opposite of that. Where you had these very long profiles and stories, you had all these thoughtful writing on different food topics that I definitely wasn't seeing anywhere in the US. And it was creative and fun and serious at the same time. And the photography was very personal. It was very much, PA's world of photography, and which is is distinct and amazing. And I felt like there wasn't anything else like that, at least that I had known. And I felt like, okay, there's still a place for me in this world. And over the years, I was fortunate to write a few stories with you guys, and I'm still very grateful for that. And so first I want to say, thank you for that. Of course, it's been a dream to work with you guys a few times. And second, when the fuck is the next issue coming out? Because I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
I think we have to go back to where you started on that train going to Faviken back in the days. I mean, 'cause for people who don't really know about us and our why we started this foolish thing called Full Magazine. It is you actually spot on everything, because we were also missing this kind of serious but not that serious magazine on gastronomy and food, and in a wider sense as well, profiling people. I mean, we really were interested in ourselves, and as a counter-reaction to these shorter and shorter stories and the less and less space you could get. So it's like, no, what the fuck? Let's just do whatever we like. We try and do one issue. And then,
Yeah. But it started 2004. That was the year when we registered Fool.se.
Okay.
But we didn't do it. We didn't have the time. We didn't have the money. But the idea was there. And
we're super slow,
that
mostly,
we wanted,
unfortunately.
that we really wanted to do a magazine with a lot of text, and we wanted to do a magazine without recipes, focusing on people. So
But I have to interrupt you. Like we always say, people say like, oh, why don't you have any recipes? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, guys, do you buy Vogue to get a sewing pattern? No, you don't. You buy Vogue or Penthouse, I guess, for your text. I don't know, but I mean, you buy it for inspiration. You want to be inspired, and we wanted to inspire people. Basically, we wanted to turn on their minds and everything, their senses.
So at that time, our inspiration was Vogue magazine, Life, New Yorker. So that was what we wanted to read and or just leaf through. And then in 2010, we actually made the decision, let's do it. So we did.
And back in those days, we had ads. I mean, we had ads up until the two latest issues.
Yeah.
We have had ads, but dealing with ads and ad people, it's not really our thing, to be honest. And we wanted rather invest a little bit more money, get some sponsors who we had, and to create something that is much more like a book or a periodical or something that lasts. And we also the printing quality. We made even better printing quality.
Yeah.
And I mean, the one we worked together on Osvaldo in Mexico City, for instance, that was the first one we did with the new printing house and this quality. Yeah. And no ads.
No, but the ad thing, that's quite interesting if you're interested in magazines and magazine making in a way, because being based in Sweden and not being part of any big publishing house, it's extremely difficult to have ads, to sell ads.
Quality ads, yeah.
No, because yes, absolutely quality ads, but this is because most companies, they have regions where they sell ads. So it's Scandinavia, it's the US, and we couldn't really, we didn't fit.
No, it was never really like a Nordic region magazine, right? I mean, it was a pretty global, even though it gets kind of lumped in with that just because of the time and some of the stories, but it was never that. It was very global.
Yeah,
true. But also our whole idea was that you almost like a Trojan horse in a way. You could buy it because nice photography and nice this, blah blah. But then we wanted people like you. We had these letters or mails from readers who told us, well, I bought this, I was on a transatlantic flight, and I started reading, and I couldn't put it down, and then all of a sudden I was like in New York, and I know what happened. I read the whole issue from cover to cover, and those kind of stories, they are really amazing because we pay a lot of attention to the words, to the text. It can be long, there has to be some kind of substance. I mean, that's why it's a bit like a Trojan horse or a nice coffee table look, and still it should speak to you in a way. And I don't know, enrich your life a little bit.
But the most important thing for us then, and also, I mean, still is that to do stories that we are interested in, do stories on people that we really would like to know more about, or people that we know something about already, that we would like just to dive into them and do something.
And hopefully do something much deeper than just being invited to a place, let's walk in or turn out a journalist and leave the next day. Much rather come one time, or hopefully, incognito or a bit like under the radar and try it out. If you're a bit not sure, see if it's interesting or not, and then if it is good, usually our senses are pretty, fine tuned, so it is good, and then we come back. And then we spend time. We try to spend time. And the latest one, we're not evading your question, by the way. We will arrive back. It's the longest detour ever. No, but I mean, for Japan, it was incredible. We had to maybe visit some restaurants once just to see us, and then come back a second time. And then end of the meal, maybe suggest that we would like to maybe come along if it's maybe possible. If they maybe would like us.
Maybe.
And
so polite.
in a very humble way. And it is Japan.
Yeah.
And then the chef might ask you, so who else is in this Japanese issue? And then you tell the names, and he says, no, I can't do it. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy to be among those people. And then you have to have some of the other chefs call him up and say, like, hey, guys, would you mind, not guys, I would say, sir, would you mind being in this magazine because we think it would be interesting? And then you get an okay eventually.
Yeah.
And then it all ends with a hug, a big hug. Afterwards.
But there are different struggles. Mostly people don't turn us down. It happened a couple of times, actually, but it's not very often. And then,
really?
Yes. Oh, I can't. No.
Yeah, you can say. You can.
Because he wasn't ready. I will tell you.
Okay. I know.
But now he's ready. He's overripe like us. Anyways, Sure. So for your question about, sorry.
No.
Come on, sorry.
No, the next issue.
Yeah, next issue. So
Yeah.
So Lotta, why are we not producing an issue?
Because
every
we
year?
have just too much on our plates, so to speak. But I mean, we have actually made 2 stories for next issue. But we need to update.
One restaurant has closed since.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. But that's also
it's actually a good story still. But we need to update it a little bit, all of them, and it will be a next issue. We don't have a date for it.
Okay.
But I don't know if I can call it an issue any longer, since it's more or less like a book now.
Yeah,
but,
it's more periodical.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great.
But I mean, to be honest, we would love to focus on this. If I had unlimited funds, I would love to focus on this and do it, once every year or whatever, when we feel we're ready. But at the same time, you don't really tell a writer like, oh, you have to produce your work like every year. You have to do like 2 books or whatever. So time is a factor, because we like to spend time.
Yeah.
We like to kind of let the subjects marinate in a way, because the next one is going to be about the future basically.
Okay.
But it's changing so rapidly now in a way, and so I get like almost dizzy, like from day to day. So how do we know? All we can do basically is do snapshots of time in a way.
Yeah.
Here and now.
Yeah.
And try to distill what we think. Because during the pandemic, after the pandemic, we had so many thoughts, all of us, I guess, about which way the world, and especially the gastronomic world, would take. But I thought like, no, that would definitely be less of this influencer thing and blah blah and all this. And total opposite.
It's like it went basically right back to how it was.
Even worse.
Yeah. Or even worse. Like it just accelerated. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting. I spoke to Chef Will Goldfarb last week, because we're speaking about project, and then I said I'm surprised that it didn't happen earlier, something new in the gastronomic world. And he said, oh, it was the same after 9/11. It took 2 years before anything happened. And it now, I think it is actually happening. So many restaurants are closing, so many new ones are opening, and it's in a different way. The fine dining scene is still around, but it's different. It's just different. Speaking about Noma and other places. So I mean, what is going on? It's just something is happening now. I think 2 years.
Yeah, but before talking about fine dining, do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I had a question about that. Why food to start with? If there was a personal reason for you to focus on this, or you were more tuning in what was happening culturally and how this expression was like opening up new languages for people to connect and all these things we know about food. But I am curious about what was that first question you had around food, and if that question over the years has changed, because obviously there are a lot of,
it's a very good question. It's basically my fault because PA and I, we weren't together before, and I mean, I lived in Stockholm, and I was an art director for a food magazine called Gourmet, nothing to do with American Gourmet, and so we met through that magazine because I asked PA to take some photographs very early on. Because
and back then I didn't shoot any food at all. I would, even as a child, I loved to eat, of course, but
because we were a new team for that magazine, they wanted to revamp it a little bit. So when I started work as an art director for that magazine, I wanted to work for the photographers that didn't necessarily shoot food. So I just wanted to do something else. And this is late 90s. So it's 90, what is it, 2, 3? Can't even remember what year, but it's something like that. 4 maybe. And yeah, that's how it happened. So when we finally met, kind of, and became a couple, we started to speak about...
It also took a few years. Everything takes time here.
So we started to speak about maybe we should do a magazine. It would be so much fun. Let's do it without recipes and do focus on people, blah, blah, blah. And you always been very interested in food. I never been interested in food, really. I just been interested in doing magazines. But now, well, food is part of our world.
Yeah. But yeah.
So that's how it happened.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
It's a very selfish project in a way, because we tell, but it's like, as a photographer, to do a great story on somebody, you almost have to fall in love with them in a way. You have to care. You have to really invest yourself and your feelings and everything. And then hopefully your images become a little bit better and less superficial. And I feel the same way about, it's hard to feature, do stories on people you don't love or admire in a way. I guess it's the same with you guys. I mean, of course we do stories just to tell other people about something. I mean, we do commercial work as well, but we try always to work with, I always say, I always want to work with nice people. Yeah. If people are not nice, I don't know, it's almost the most important thing. Yeah. But then you learn something yourself as well, about yourself and about them, hopefully.
But I also think at that time when we started to think about fool, also, I mean, playing around with the food and fool as a name, because we felt that to be someone in the food world, in the restaurant world, you have to be a little bit crazy. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't do it. Yeah. Just can't do it. So that's why we made up this name.
Yeah.
And also, there weren't any magazines around like that.
No.
And we felt that something was missing. I mean, sometimes I said to Pia, let's do a magazine about football instead, soccer. but just because we need to focus on people to do something good with people. But food is
But
more
but
emotional
but
than
but
football,
still,
I think.
no, it's not. You need, well, no, you need to eat every day to survive.
Yeah.
You don't need a football
Yeah.
game a day to survive. Though
Really?
I'm participating in a lot of them on TV. But
Yeah.
no, but it's pretty. It is interesting. This
Yeah.
how it all started and the development. And I mean, we always want. I mean, there are a lot of food magazines out there. We get a lot of them. We do
Today, yeah,
And
millions.
I don't want to be critical, but sometimes I feel like the words are missing.
I'm glad you say that because I totally agree. Like, there's lots of beautiful food magazines,
yeah, but
and like I've seen a few good ones from Latin America lately that I'm really happy about. But in general, most of them, they look beautiful. You put them on your coffee table and they look nice and they look cool, but then you open them up and it's just like soulless. Like the story, the writing is not there. You know, the design's usually pretty good, but you know, the writing, like,
that's the
and
easy part.
you never pick it up again. You never read it. You never sit on an 8-hour train ride and,
But
Yeah.
that's
read
why
the whole issue.
True. That's why also we try to really work with extremely good writers, illustrators, and artists for every fool. But also to us, it's important to. I once said we almost should have support from the EU because we try to do something like to actually break the language barriers in a way because we want to bring in writers who write in Spanish and we get it translated, French, Portuguese, we really Japanese, which is really hell to translate, by the way. German, which is not so hard, but it always becomes much longer, the texts. But it's an interesting way to get, I mean, another view on the culture across.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the Spanish view, you guys, you understand, you speak Spanish. I mean, we don't really. So, but having this cultural, another cultural viewpoint in a way, it's very important. Try to bring that out to others is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, even French. I mean, when did you last read like François Simon, the French super critic? When did you read him in English the last time? Does it even work? Yeah, we asked him to write the piece, and he did. Interesting, very, very good. I was super scared of calling him, by the way, or writing to him. But I mean, it is interesting. This cultural context, I think.
No, but there's so few places to actually do this work, to do artful work about food. Like it just it's so. Like all the magazines in the US, all the big magazines, it's just so transactional. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just, this is the chef, this is the restaurant, and blah, blah, blah. Like there's never the deep stories. It's like I was just looking at Full Number One, and, there's this in-depth story about the duck farmer, like Peter the duck farmer. And it's like, have I ever seen a story about a duck farmer, just this weird reclusive duck farmer in the U.S.? No, and I never probably ever will, which is sad,
Yeah, but also to be honest, I love New York Times. I read it a lot online and everything. At times, I feel they don't really trust their senses, especially in the style issues and everything.
Yeah,
I don't know what to call it. It was more, I mean, supposed to be modern anyway, or contemporary. I always feel, this is very honest, not too honest maybe, that they always, like many others, they always have to have some kind of certification that this guy or she's okay, she's really cool, she's if we feature her, we're not going to not look like fools. But I mean, whereas we don't give a shit. I'm happy to anybody we like or we think has a message to somebody else or has something to tell you guys. It's so
and it doesn't have to be a perfect message. It doesn't have to be this like boxed in view that's acceptable on Twitter or whatever it's called now. And and it's like I feel like in the US we get kind of boxed into that. Nothing can vary from the one polarized view or the other, and it's just there's no in between. There's no just story just to tell a story and just to see how this person is and all their flaws and
true.
And I miss that. Yeah.
True.
But still, one of my favorite stories from New Yorker is on David Chang.
Oh, yeah.
It was a long time ago. That was so good. I've reread it from time to
Couple
time.
times.
It's just really, really good story when he was young, just doing this and the world. I mean,
But that's
just
also,
perfect.
but that's also the question. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I still love working with chefs and restaurants and these kind of people that are around here in this industry, because we have access still. We have we get our
Yeah.
unlimited access. Whereas if I would do photos of an actor, an actress, or whatever, there are so many layers of so many people, gatekeepers, because this is very direct still. You can actually, we can call somebody up and say, well, mostly, I mean, they don't have like PRs and stuff. And if they have a PR, we speak to them directly, because we want the honesty. It's like, would you like to do this? Yeah. I mean, even when we did Butura, for instance, doing this Fellini homage for Fool, that was really funny to do that. It was dealing straight with him and Lara, his wife. And that's the way to do it. If
I mean, you couldn't set that up with a PR agency and have the PR agency explain to Massimo like what you wanted to do and what this idea was, and like, could you imagine? Like,
that would have been weird.
And also, sometimes what I really like is the discovery, because we are on a kind of this journey together, us and the subject.
Yeah.
It's like, for fuck's sake, we have to have time to sit down and have a coffee. Lotta always says, because in many countries they ask, would you like to have a coffee? And I always say yes. Of course I want a coffee. I always want a coffee. And I really want to sit down and spend time with people. I mean, I can be rushed as well. I can do that, but I want to spend time.
Right.
It's like, it's also out of some kind of courtesy to the person. I want to understand.
I wonder if you struggle with, I mean, given that this is focused on personalities, people with, a lot of self-energy, and they are usually very confident and a life force. But in the end, food is communal. The message, it goes beyond the person. And, in the end, it's about what this person or her team are giving to the world. How do you balance that when you craft the story so that the weight is not... I'm thinking about the reader that sees, so much weight in these celebrities, because they are right now. So that the message is in the end beyond that specific individual.
But this, I mean, we have a very good example. Maybe we have the same one. But we have a very, very good example of that, because, I mean, it's something that evolves. We did a story on Bar Tartin. And we went there, we spent some time with them, and then we realized that these people at the restaurant, they are so important, and they are from everywhere. So we did portraits of all of them working there, and just short stories about them, where they came from. We couldn't do that today, they would be arrested, but where they came from and what they did, and for a long time they've been working there and stuff like that. And some other,
but this was a microcosmos of a restaurant in California, in the US. I mean, all these people, like a melting pot, coming together. So we were standing, Lotta and I, and basically I said, I can't shoot this way. We figured out we have to do it another way, and we make these split-second decisions on. We had to basically, if you would do it for another major magazine back in the days, you would have a shooting schedule. You have to go like every single. I could tick all the boxes, but we don't. Then we fight sometimes, and I say like that. Say no, I can't do it. I won't do it this way. We have to do something else. So we put up a black backdrop and we shot all these people. Because it fit the story so well. And it is, that was, I mean, Nick and Courtney's restaurant, of course. And so they were in the picture, but they were just as much worth as the others. Maybe they were featured on 3 pictures, and all the other guys, they were on a full. And also, I mean, how many pages? How many pages does this story need? I don't know.
That's how we work.
Is it 12, 16, 20? Let's do 20, because the material We have enough material.
So that's why, I mean, how it evolves, because sometimes we need to, we just feel that we need to include everybody, or we just need to do it in different ways. We did that in Thailand too.
Yes, with David Thompson back in the days as well. But that's interesting. When you can look at pictures of some of the guys there, some have moved on now. They are celebrity chefs, or I don't know. I hate that word, but no, they are famous, very interesting chefs. And now it's almost time to feature him. He will be featured.
Yes.
So it is very interesting. But also because we were there so early, we shot him, we spent time back then. He trusts us. He totally trusts us, because trust is so important as well in everything, I think, especially because they have to trust us.
Yeah.
Because Lotta always says, when it's my photography, she says, "Oh, now you're pushing everybody too hard again. You just," because I don't think, I'm so instinctive. I just want to, create something. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know, you're wearing everybody out. You're crazy."
That is not true. That is not true.
Okay, it's not true. A little bit.
What is
I mean, that's the way I like to work too. I mean, I like to gain the trust. And like, I feel like when I have the opportunity to tell a real story, and it's like, I need to spend that time, and I need to, and for me, it's different because it's less about, I can't really direct them, in the, in the story, but I have to be there, and they have to trust me enough to let the story happen is how I've always felt it. And the best thing I can do is just blend into the background. And my best stories have been that. Have just been me in the background listening, but not them necessarily forgetting I'm there, but trusting me with the information that they're presenting and just letting me do what I want with it. And I think it's taken it probably took a few stories to get there for them to kind of understand who I am and something like that, but yeah, and it's like I don't work with the drop in with a bunch of journalists and you eat a meal and then talk with the chef and everybody gets drunk afterwards, and like I don't know what to do with that. Like I never did, and I don't know, and it's just
that's again, that's the again, it's very transactional. It's the buzzword of the no, but it's transactional. You arrive, you get your photos, your meal, and everything. Thank you very much. Write a nice piece or post or whatever, and please vote for me on 50 Best.
Yeah, vote for me on 50 Best and the TripAdvisor review. It's like it's almost like those cards they give you at like terrible tourist restaurants, like please write for us at a TripAdvisor review, but now it's give us the 50 best vote.
But in a way you say like almost like every chef, the one we speak to is a bit puzzled and clueless in a way, and almost like helpless in a way, because it's so hard today to navigate all this, and especially it's a bit easier if you have loads of money behind you. You can invite people to fly in, have your meal, enjoy your life in some random Asian city, whatever. But I mean, it's really hard if you are a young, even super talented chef. It's really hard.
What would you say are the questions they are asking themselves in the middle of all this unknown scenario? What will you say? What will you say are the questions they are asking themselves about what to do or how to go about all this?
I don't know. I think often nowadays it's almost about survival in a way, because it's become very, very hard. It's about how do I survive? How do I keep my restaurant running? How do I get staff? How do I pay the bills? How do I pay the taxes? How do I treat my staff in a fair way and keep them? And it's almost like a full circle of madness. And whereas it should be pretty easy in a way. It's like you come to my restaurant, you pay me money, I feed you, I pay the bills, I go home and sleep. Thank you very much. I come back the next morning. I cook honest food for you guys.
But it has become so difficult because I mean, some of these restaurants are still fully booked. But people spend less.
Yeah.
And that is the big problem. They don't spend as much as they used to spend. And
So they have to come up with inventive ways to kind of to work around this and to get people to spend more, stay short of time, or spend more on the stuff that they make more money on.
Yeah, because you still have the same staff. You still have even maybe the rent is more, and I mean the
food cost
more. Yeah, exactly. So it's just.
But then there are these. We don't think about the exceptions. I spoke to a chef, like a local chef, really great guy, like an hour ago. And because I had some ideas about some stuff, we spoke about that, more technical stuff, about cooking. So he knows everything. But anyways, he also said, because they only serve lunch, and they serve lunch every weekday, 2 dishes, one vegetarian and one kind of normal course. And they're not fine dining. They're more like a canteen in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But they serve a lot of people. And what they serve the most people is when they do kind of popular dishes in a way that often are perceived as a bit posh. And he said to me, in confidence, he said, guys, we make the most money from this, the most supposedly posh dish. And it's simple to prepare and everything.
Yeah.
And he's a bit puzzled. He's like, I don't know, it's great. So you can actually crack this in a way, but it's very hard if you move on to a more ambitious restaurant working with great produce. You have to have a certain amount of staff to do the food and to man the whole place. It's very hard.
I wanted to talk a little about this, that in Copenhagen, Stockholm, there are a lot of fine dining restaurants, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, in the population size is not that big of either city. Like, there's as many as in New York, I would assume. Like, combine those two cities, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, there's a lot of very high end tasting menu restaurants.
Yeah,
and I would assume most have managed to stay open. I mean, have a lot closed? I mean, I know a lot of have gone through transitions and things, but it seems like most of them have remained open for a long time. I know, but at the same time, you see people like Magnus and Christian Puglisi, just kind of retreating a bit. So I don't know what my question is. It's just
but I don't know. The question is maybe if we have too many fine dining restaurants here to sustain. I can't speak for all of them, but I think they're doing pretty okay. But I would say the upper mid market is pretty oversaturated. But I mean, of course, everybody is struggling a little bit. I mean, even if you're full, it doesn't guarantee you. Financial success.
Exactly.
It's very, very hard.
Yeah. And to be honest, we don't eat that much fine dining food.
Oh, it's the first fire truck. Sorry, guys. Well, adds to the drama, right?
No, we don't. Here, when we're here in Sweden and in Denmark, we don't eat that much fine dining.
No, I don't at home either. Like hardly ever. Like I have no idea what's going on in New York.
We wish we could go to Denmark a little bit more, but the Swedish currency is really bad. It's weak, so we're not really going that.
But also, I mean, it is very, very expensive to do it, and I mean, can we spend that amount of money? I don't know, not really. It's hard to devote that kind of money to something, because we also have to survive like everybody and think about what we want to do. And I mean, to be honest, sometimes it's better to buy great produce and cook at home. And because the wines, we have good wines in the cellar, and I mean, it's cellar. That sounds like a fabulous place, right? So it's tiny. It's 2 by 2 by 2 meters. But it's a fucking cellar.
Here comes another one.
Another truck. Sorry.
What's going on?
Now we have
a random fire somewhere.
We have a fire station up the road.
Sorry.
So, given all these questions about fine dining, when you think about content, do you try to look for different angles or different scenarios, or still trying to understand what's happening with fine dining and keep, the story tuned to that process. I'm curious about how you guide your own work because of all these questions and that are not answered yet.
You want to answer this one?
No. When we speak about contents of full magazine, we always have a theme when we do a full magazine that makes it easier for us and makes it more timeless as well. So it doesn't have to be fine dining. It could be something else. It could be about a phenomenon or
sake brewer, like in Japan.
Exactly. And different things. So it's not really about the fine dining scene.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But of course we made fine dining stories.
But it's not because it's fine dining, it's because of the impact and how interesting the person is.
Yes.
And what that person has to say.
Yeah. So it's more about that. But of course we haven't done that many stories around the world, and there are so many more people, so many more interesting people everywhere. I'm glad, but so it's difficult. Sometimes you just, the fine dining people, they are there, kind of those chefs. You see them, people speak about them, and then you just become curious, maybe, and that's why they are featured so much. I don't know.
Yeah,
could be.
It's also if being fine dining or not is not very important to me. It's what they have to say. But then, there is one. This is not a full story. This is actually about Dave Pynt that you interviewed recently as well. A great interview, by the way, I must say.
Thank you.
Yeah,
he's a fun guy. That was my first time talking to him. So.
That is really what I love about, if it's in a wider sense, what we do. Because we do consulting, I do photography for clients. You do art direction and creative direction, everything for clients. Sometimes we work together.
Yeah.
And this was one of those instances when we worked together on this book project with Dave. And we knew him before. He asked us to do this book project, possibly if we were interested, and we came up with the idea. But then to me, I want to speak about closeness. If you're close to somebody, it's very interesting because then shit happens in a way. With Dave, it really developed as well. We knew him before a bit, but not that much. But I think we developed quite a good relationship, which is almost as important as the finished product. I love the book, but being friends and meeting a person like that, it's very, very interesting, I think.
It is. That is.
How do you say what's going to be timeless? Can you give us some examples? I'm sure that's something you discover during this conversation, but it's interesting to think this feels like something that it's not going to go away in 2 months, or it's a trend. And how
we usually speak about long shelf life in a way. That's the time part of it. So it's it's something that you can actually read a story after a couple of years, even though maybe the restaurant has closed or something, but it should still be something that is interesting to read.
I would hate if you picked up a book or a Fool or whatever, something we made, and you would feel like this, like cringe, like, ooh, this looks
2015.
I think that goes both for the photography and for your work, designing as well. Yeah. You might say like, it's kind of, sometimes people tell me, it's like, oh, I love your photography, it's so simple. And I'm like, I'm not going to hit them, but I'm like, yes, it took me a lifetime to get there, because it's about how do you refine things? How do you, it's like cooking. It's easy to add loads of stuff and then you get something, maybe interesting. But when do you stop? It's much harder to take stuff away. How much can you actually take away and refine something? The same with photography or design or whatever, I think.
Yeah. True.
No, I was looking through the first issue of Full like this morning, and I was reading through it, and I was impressed at how relevant all the stories still are, how timeless they felt.
Wow.
There was one exception, like and I just thought it was kind of funny, but Bruce Paling's story on natural wine, and at the end, it's like, the reason I am not bothered about natural wines is that ultimately they will remain a fringe activity, as I know of no existing great wines committing Harikari by going down the natural wine path. Instead, it remains a passion in the lesser or more obscure wine regions of the world where they do not make wines normally considered worthy of aging for decades or more. So, which is why I am happy to raise a glass of wine and wish them well in their bizarre pursuit of purity at the expense of quality. So,
I'm blushing.
I don't know, but maybe it balances the other stuff. From I mean,
Don't we have another natural wine story in that issue?
There was.
But they chose the most interesting ones. I think it was the bad excuse is that we wanted to balance the first one. We only drink natural wines, but at the same time, how should I put this? Bruce Pauling is not our greatest fan anymore.
Okay.
I would say
because of
natural wine.
Okay.
Because, he thought we wanted to poison him in a way with natural wine. one occasion, it's the truth actually. This is not something we can speak about on camera or on.
Of course not.
Very confidential.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
Yes. Yeah. If you subscribe and pay the fee for your Substack, we could probably do something there. That would be a fun one. We're going to do that.
No, we are not mean.
We're going to send you some stuff.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
mean.
Sure, anytime. Yeah.
We are not mean people.
No,
we always have very good intentions.
Yes.
We always try to feed people well and do good things. We never do anything with some kind of.
Lotta is nicer than I am, though. But at that instance, we did nothing wrong. I can assure you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, but even looking back at the story, it was still healthy debate about what was happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the time.
Yes. It's true.
So.
Well, yes. No, but I actually enjoy looking at the old issues, and there is some stuff I'm very proud of. And being able to meet Michel Bras in his surrounding when he was cooking, doing that story, having this closeness, one of the greatest chefs ever, I would say. Most influential.
But that's the thing. It's like there's all these amazing people, and their stories are never really told.
No.
And it's like I would love to tell so many great stories about some of these people I met, and like I try to in my Substack and in wherever, but it's like it's harder with that. It's like it's not built for long form writing, really. No. Like I've tried to do it a few times and I have to break it up, but I don't have the budget for it usually with that yet. But still, it's like there's all these amazing people and their stories just become reduced to this number on this list. And you never really get to know who they are, why they're doing these things.
It's true.
And especially if they don't speak English, it becomes even.
No, especially. Yeah.
No, but it's.
It's all about the people.
It's all about the people.
Yeah.
It's about the people. Do you have a new documentary series? It's not out yet, though, right?
Nope.
No, it's not.
We're still working on it.
It's still work in progress.
Okay.
It's called A Fly in the Soup.
Okay.
And we have filmed the first
episode.
So it's and
it's a bit of a try.
And it's going to be about Ernst restaurant in Berlin. They've closed now, but it's our way to do something foolish, but on film.
Okay.
But as soon as you work with film, it's a little bit more complicated than doing a magazine.
A little bit, it's very complicated.
So we work with two brilliant people on this, and it's amazing. And we're looking forward to show it when it's done.
But at the same time,
we're close.
At the same time, with film and everything, it becomes a bit like, I don't want to do it like this. I don't want it to look like this. And then when you've gone through all the don'ts, what do you end up with? There has to be something left. I mean, actually, how do you want to tell the story? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And this is a way to try to do something that is, I don't know, a bit slow, like slow TV.
But is it going to be like full, where instead of like long 7,000 word stories, it's like a 7 hour like
Sort of. Sort of. No, but
okay.
But
Kind of.
But
All right.
it's a bit like a chef who saw the first preview. He said, like, "Wow, this is really like it is."
Okay.
Because this is unedited footage, basically like 7-8 minutes of nothing happens, but everything happens.
All right.
And it's like it is interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe the second episode will be totally different. But I hope we will make it more slow TV rather than TikTok.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
100%.
Because why do something that everybody else does?
But do you even know where you will distribute it? Like, is it something you're going to put on YouTube or something? Or
we spoke about it so many different ways. So it will be YouTube from the beginning. We've decided that.
Okay.
So then we'll see, because it's a hard sell to any other. That's why.
Okay.
Because it's different.
But
it's like full magazine. If we would have
approached.
If we would have approached any publishing house telling them that we would like to do a magazine like that, they would just say no.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
Of course.
Maybe not today, but back then, absolutely.
All right, what else?
From this counter-culture sensibility you have to approach these stories, is there something you feel hospitality should be doing or changing, or like the energy should be directed in certain way? If you could decide about that, if you could advise chefs or have a voice in that, what would you say to happen to make things less stressful, or just more as you were saying they should be, right, simpler?
Wow, that's a big question.
Yeah.
It's a very good one too.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, I produce my best work when I'm a bit not stressed, but when I'm focused. you need to have an energy.
So your advice is going to
you need your energy, and I think a lot of chefs. I can't speak for every chef, but I mean, it is about energy. It's about the drive. It's about the fire and everything. I mean, and of course, it's draining. That's why people like Christian, for instance, takes a step back, because he has really put so much energy into his work for so many years. And you change, like Magnus, you change your way of doing things, and you're brave enough to stop doing your fine dining Faviken, and you do something else, like apple farming, apple juice, apple cider, and of course you buy a hotel and you turn it into your place, another time and place.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to. If I could write that manual, it's like not art of the deal, rather art of the hospitality. The rich man. I think if I could do it, I can't even write a manual on how to photograph food. For God's sakes.
Have you tried?
Well, I've been asked, and I always said I tried. It's like, God, it's so instinctive.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm like Picasso or somebody, because nobody is really. It's like, how the hell can you teach somebody to do something that is very, because that implies it is all technical, because it's not technical. To me, it's not technical. Painting is not technical, really. Well, of course, you need your brushes, you need your paint, you need your whatever, but then the magic starts when you have all the tools. You can buy the best camera in the world and you do shit photography. Yeah. I always say you have to shoot with your soul. You have to trust your senses in a way. And that's when I'm at my best, when I do that. So it's no, I haven't. It would be a very short one.
Right, that's a good advice. Trust your soul, your senses.
Yeah.
This is off tangent, but could a restaurant like Mugaritz open today?
Of course.
You think?
I guess Alchemist opened.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but
It's very different.
Yeah.
yeah,
But we have the big fortune to follow Mugaritz for so many years. And I mean, it's changed drastically, of course. It's evolved so much. And I mean, it's changing every year.
Every year,
But today, I think Mugaritz is the exception, really, because there is no El Bulli anymore. There are none of those. And I mean, there are very few restaurants that take risks in a way, in that sense.
yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. Like a restaurant willing to take that many risks.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's wrong. They are totally wrong in calling it a restaurant, and they try to fight the concept of being a restaurant. So it shouldn't say restaurant. And at the same time, if you say like you are an experience or whatever, no.
Yeah.
I wonder. I mean, if you read the reviews, they have some incredibly bad reviews.
Oh yeah,
because it's a mismatch between the customer's expectations and what the customer really gets. But then, I mean, it's not a restaurant really.
No,
it's masquerading as one. And I think that Andoni, he really enjoys that. And I really hate myself not speaking Spanish, being able to speak to Andoni in a good way to really understand. And because always when we try to speak, it's translations and stuff. It's like I feel so stupid.
I mean, the first time we went to Mugaritz was 2001, I think, and everybody spoke, I think, Basque when they served us the food, and we were just looking at the place like this. Oh my God, what is this? This is fantastic! Come on!
And they should even do that today because it was magic.
Yeah, it was so
you
much
twisted
fun.
your mind with somebody's coming to you and just putting a plate down, and they go like "Ak uri iskara," and they go away.
That's how it felt.
And you look at the plate, it's like wow. But
that was amazing. Yeah. That was such a mind-blowing experience, and it was just.
I love having that perspective as well.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think about being older. I don't feel old 1 second. But I mean, having a perspective, it's so, and not the perspective to be able to be dismissive, but to be able to put things in context in a way, to understand a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But we love that place. We think it's amazing.
Me too. And I think we've had a conversation before. And that's why I brought it up again. Yeah.
we got married at Mugaritz.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean,
And then we made 2 books with them as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is also very interesting.
I think the latest book that we did was amazing. It's called Puntos de Fuga. Mm-hmm. Vanishing Points, and it was a fantastic book to make. Really, really cool.
To be honest, I think they get far less. I mean, they're not appreciated the way they should be appreciated because they make life so difficult for themselves. Like they made a conference now, Diálogos de la Cocina, but it's all in Spanish. It's not, nothing is really in English. It's like, why guys? Why do you make it like this? Put so much effort because you should reach out and tell the world your story and be a bit, I don't know, but I don't know. Let's see when we all meet and we, in 20 years time or something, we sum up our eating lives, which will be the most interesting ones and timeless.
Do you have like a most interesting place that you've eaten at? Like, is there anything that stands out in your mind? Like this meal, this one time, that's the one.
I have one. To me, it's really where you want to go back. And sometimes you don't want to relive memories because there's a magic. You're afraid you're going to spoil them. But I think, to me, there is a magic place in Singapore actually called. I always put it on my 10 best meals. It's called Sangyo Road Laksa. It's a simple laksa stand. Now a bit more famous, where you pay maybe $2 to get your laksa. Mm-hmm. And the first time there. It was amazing, and it's still amazing. Yeah, that's one of those moments. I feel like
it's a hawker center.
It's a hawker center.
Yeah.
And is there something you eat every day that you still enjoy?
Bread
and butter.
Okay. Bread and butter.
I could never live without butter.
No, it's not. But it's a staple of everything. I mean,
The
sometimes
two of you, bread and butter.
yeah.
100%.
But sometimes when we don't have time to cook, or we can't be bothered because we had a big lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
We just have
Bread and butter.
So
Oh yeah, I
you
saw a picture, such a beautiful picture of just bread and butter. Oh, delicious. Yeah.
we do bread butter, and you can add some good salami, chorizo,
Yeah.
maybe some cheese or whatever. And then it's a meal.
But
Open a bottle
the
of wine, and
base.
you're fine.
What about you, Nick?
What about me? What was the question? Sorry.
That daily thing that you still enjoy, just cherish.
I mean, it's like the thing I cherish the most is coffee, like every day. But but my daily meals, I don't know. It revolves so much around my kids right now and what they're eating that the things I enjoy are very secondary. But yeah, I would say bread and butter too, though, or tortillas, like fresh tortillas, like just from Hacienda, corn and stuff like that. Those two things would be my like daily simple, comfort.
And you?
Coffee, definitely. Yeah.
Coffee.
I will say coffee and fruit. Those are two things that make my cells be me.
What are you going to do now that we're basically cut off from fruit in the United States? It's just like,
oh my God. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I will, just maybe keep losing my identity.
You must live, all of you. You must live and eat like the president. You must eat exactly the same stuff he does, and then you're going to die in obesity in a year or something.
Yeah.
No, fruit is really. I mean, I just came back, and it's so natural to just feed yourself with fruit. There, I think we Colombians are fruit people. We are made of fruit and coffee. So I feel that there is a part of me that it's falling apart when those two things are not there. It's just it's chemical. I think it's just structural, and I think it's the same for you with bread and butter, probably.
But fruit, that's exactly our breakfast. It's bread, butter, some jams, and then Lotta always does the fruit. And when we met, I didn't eat that much fruit.
No, you did not eat fruit.
I had much. Try to maybe a little
on a
bit.
mission.
But now it's really nice to have it. It's
It's important. Nice. Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm sure there's so much more we could talk about, but I'm sure you're busy.
So when can we see the next issue? You don't have a
there's
date.
no real date. Is it like years away? Is it months?
It's more in a year. I would say we have to do it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it won't be done. We need a deadline.
Yeah.
But the documentary is coming sooner.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
That's also slow TV. We're all about slow.
It's coming soon.
Slow fools.
Yeah, definitely.
If there's any sponsor out there willing to throw some money at us to exchange for some great, visibility in the next full magazine, we are very interested.
Yeah. Hopefully out there, somebody. I hear the U.S. government has a generous aid program that's
right. Yeah.
Well,
it's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, God. No, I don't know. But,
how could we? Sorry. How could I possibly look myself in the eye and not in the mirror maybe, if we don't do anything about Ukraine and how war actually affects people and what they eat and how they eat and if they eat at all, and trying to tell these stories that they're not told, because there is everybody. Even in a war zone, you need to eat every day. And how the hell do you manage? What will happen? These stories we have to tell. It's so important, I feel.
But it's like
to think out of the box. It's not about fine dining restaurant with white cloths and everything. It's about how the hell do people survive?
It's like when we work with the Burnt Ends book and working with Ian Levin, the illustrator.
Yeah.
He lived in Kiev. And he's from Belarus, but he lived in Kiev. just having the meetings with him online. It was very emotional, and
Ian, well, he did a lot of illustrations for the Lotta and book, and now he's in the army, and he is actually fighting the Russians, and he's a drone pilot.
yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's posting on Instagram, and that's so we can see that he's still with us, and that's amazing. So we can,
What's his name so we can follow him?
Ian Levin.
no,
I will.
on Instagram he's called something else.
It's kind of complicated.
Yeah.
Long call sign.
Yeah.
But it's like today when they speak about cutting off the president's
The aid,
cutting off not even the aid, but the whole access to intelligence. It's like
But we worked with
it's
him.
about people. It's about fucking people. It's not about
But we worked with him because Dave loved his tattoo artist. So Dave loved his tattoos. So he made wallpaper for the restaurant. So that's how it came about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Let's cheer up.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's like it's so hard. This last couple of months, and like I was saying before we started the interview, I was in the jungle, most of all of February almost, and like every once in a while when I would get signal again, it was just like, oh my God, like can't I just go deeper in the jungle? But the same issues end up happening there too. So it's like everything going on affects everywhere all the time
true.
now.
True.
Sure does.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, I'm glad we're all still trying. We're all fighting the good fight. So
all these conversations make the difference. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for.
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you both.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring.